Good afternoon, Saitlanders. How are you? Oh, excuse me, I beg your pardon. A little hiccup from a sandwich. I'm going to ramble a little bit, I think, beginning with one theme and segueing into another. About 5 weeks ago, my geyser burst. I contact Standard Bank homeowners insurance, and they reckon we'll get back to you. Geyser, we'll get back to you. And it's water everywhere. And those of you who know me a little bit will know that I'm not a handyman. I'm not a handy person. Brute force and ignorance, no problem. I don't mind carrying, sacks of cement. I don't mind doing labor. But I'm not good at doing it well. It's not my talent, and I frankly don't care. So the upshot is that Standard Bank is telling me, or Standard Bank homeowners insurance, we get back to you. There's water everywhere. And I haven't the first foggy idea what to do about it. It's just, fortunately, the one saving grace is that my geyser is outside. So this is not happening in the roof or in the house, It's mounted outside on the exterior wall. So they don't get back to me. Now it's frustrating because I don't know what to do. I'm not a handy person. Stop, cock here, tap there. This one is incoming, that one's out. Go, just turn this one and then make sure that one's open. It's just a plain old-fashioned disaster. They don't get back to me. And the temperament that I have in my old industry, my nickname was the Axeman. As a project manager of special projects, I can get a little bit irritated. My blood pressure starts to rise, I start to boil, but I restrain myself. I phone them like a day and a half later and say nicely, tactfully, politely, look, this guy promised. He said he'd phone back. There's water everywhere. It's streaming into the street. That's no good, sir. Don't worry. This time, we'll really get back to you. The previous guy promised to get back to me by, I think he said 8:30 the next morning. This person promises to get this now 2 full days later, to get back to me by the afternoon. It's about 1 before 5. Doesn't get back to me. I keep my cool. I phone a third time. Perhaps I shouldn't say I keep my cool. I kept it for a bit, but once I was on the phone, I let rip as only I can. I ruined some people's days. They then say to me, okay, so what you've got to do is, you're too far out of the way. We can't send anybody to help you. You must replace your geyser, and we'll give you the money for it. What? Geez, I must get somebody. But still, it's not my game. What do I know? Where do I know how to start? Where to buy the geyser? What to... That's not me. So I had words with these people, but there was nothing I could do about it. Lo and behold, I get a second-hand geyser from my chommy Isak. He says to me, look, I'm certain that this geyser is in perfect nick. However, if it isn't, if it transpires that there's something wrong with it, I'll give you your money back, no problem. All right, good deal. And he's a trustworthy guy. It turns out that the geyser has got a leak. So I'm back to square one. Again, to cut a long story short, today, like 5 weeks later, I was away in the Eastern Cape in the interim for a week. The geyser, a replacement geyser, has been installed. But it was costly and this, that, the next thing. Somebody did me a favor. They helped me. So I went to fetch the Geyser two days ago, Wednesday evening. And this person, I probably shouldn't mention their full name, but those of you who live in Van der Kloof know Gerrit. And you should go and check out his business, but we'll come to that in a moment. And Gerrit and I had a lekker fat chat while I was there. It ended up being, his wife made snacks for us, and we chatted and looked over the dam and explored his house and the whole story. And in the course of this time together, he told me, he spoke about business, about commerce, about industry, about manufacturing. He's a very successful businessman, a really successful businessman. Originally, as I remember the story, one of Oom Jan van der Merwe, Oom Jan Snorre's people from the south coast of Natal, the lower south coast, not the upper south coast where I come from, two different worlds. And he subsequently moved to Bobsfontein, which is another very interesting story. Anyway, enough waffling. This guy tells me, these are the sorts of business that we should be attracting here. And I was just looking at a story, which I'll bring up now, which made me think of this whole thing. And I think there's a connection somewhere. That's how to do it. Have I got it? No, I haven't got it. Oh, sorry, everybody. Just give me a second here while I try to master this software. There we go. Okay, let's put it in immersive reader. City of Gold losing its shine, declining standards driving Joburg exodus. Joburg is a city that has fallen far from its glory days. It is no longer a proud city that can boast world-class standards. I don't have to read much of this to you. You don't have to read much of it. Basically, what it comes down to is that it is a failure, that Johannesburg is a shadow of its former self, and that there is no promise that it's going to get better. There's nothing there's no hope worth clinging to that it may improve. And it is apparently bound to continue to deteriorate as it is presently deteriorating, if not at an accelerated rate. This reminds me of the woman who was interviewed in the big, was it EWN, Eyewitness News article on the pylon that collapsed in Nigel, who said, we don't want to pay rates and taxes anymore. It contributes to nothing, it achieves nothing. And so it is that in Johannesburg, people are throwing good money after bad and paying far more than the value of the services that they receive in turn. Whereas in certain regions of South Africa, such as here in Van der Kloof and in Orania and other places, the Western Cape is another one, Cape Town and environs, people are endeavoring to stem the tide of destruction caused by African National Congress hopelessness, quite frankly. And Gerrit was saying that the thing that he's looking at, or which we should look at, is now to bring in manufacturing in this region. And I'm not promising that there's going to be any wonderful, overnight upswing in the conditions of this vicinity. But one thing is for certain, people are trying, especially many of the inkomelinge, like myself, although I don't really do anything along those lines, and Gerrit and his charming wife Adele, to um, to make better, to find something in such a state and to leave it in such a state, to improve and to progress. And God willing, long may it continue. May we continue to strive as our forefathers did, to better ourselves and our circumstances and our conditions and our surroundings, not always getting it right, indeed always imperfectly, but nevertheless strive in good faith. So there you go. That was just a little spiel that I wanted to share with you. And hopefully some of you appreciate it, and hopefully it is relevant to some of you who may be thinking of moving down to the Northern Cape, who may be thinking of new businesses, new opportunities, new development, and so on. Thank you very much for watching this video. We appreciate it. Please like it. And may our Lord God bless and keep you in the difficult days that lie ahead of us. Bye-bye.